Hello, people! How are you today, or tonight, or whenever it is, wherever you are watching this from? I hope you're doing right. And if you're not, I hope things get better soon. Now, in this video, we cover the simple structures of English at an A2 level. We are going to see how these structures apply for all the tenses that we know. And in reality, these are the basic structures for the entire language. Anything and everything we use uses these structures. Sometimes the structures are more complex. Yes, they are more complicated. They are more complex. Not really complicated, but they are more complex. Yes, more advanced. Either way, the same idea is applied to the more complex structures. Now, you are probably familiar with this, but in English, there is something that does not exist in Spanish. That is the auxiliary. The auxiliary is a verb that has a particular job in English. The job of the auxiliary is to indicate the tense of the sentence. Now, these are the simple structures, but in reality, they are the basic structures. Simple structures are structures that we only use for simple present and simple past. Basic structures are, the basic structure is the structure that we use for the simple past, the simple present, the present continuous, the past continuous, modal verbs. That includes future with will, present perfect, past perfect. That's why they are basic structures. Simple structures and basic structures are practically the same. So enough jibber jabber, enough chit chat. Let's go check out the structures. Because this is an A2 level, yes, because this video is oriented for an A2 level, we are not studying or using examples of all the tenses in the language. Only the ones that we study in a B2 level. As you can see, the structures read subject, auxiliary, verb, object. Let's remember, in case you don't remember from Spanish, the subject is an element in the sentence that does the action. The verb is the action of the sentence. And the object is what receives the action. Yes? Why is this important? Because in Spanish, we speak differently. And the most common mistake in grammar that native Spanish speakers make are structural mistakes. And I have seen students graduate courses and they continue to make structural mistakes. They still make structural mistakes. That's why it's important from the beginning to practice focused on structures. You can practice these structures conversationally, but you still need to get them right. Now, let's take a look at how this works. I cook pasta. So far, this is very similar to Spanish. I cook pasta. Yes? As you can see, the auxiliary in the affirmative statement is inside parentheses. That is so because we do not use it in simple present. If I want to use this, if I want to say this, if I want to express this idea in the simple past, I say I cooked pasta. But the verb, it's not a simple past lesson. This is just about the structures. If you have doubts about the simple past, then go check the simple past video. In this video, we are only paying attention to structures and how sentences change. Now, in the negative, we start to use the auxiliary. When I want to express these ideas in Spanish, I simply say I know cook pasta. In English, the logic is not that different. But instead of know, we say not. And not is never alone. We use the auxiliary. I do not cook pasta. Why is the auxiliary relevant in this language? Well, again, let's remember the auxiliary's job, the job of the auxiliary, is to indicate tense. So in the simple past, sentences look like this. In affirmative, you can see that the verb is cook, but in negative, the verb is in affirmative you can see that the verb is cooked, but in negative you can see that the verb is cook. What? Yes. So if you say I not cook pasta and you don't use the auxiliary, your listener cannot understand if the sentence is present, past, present perfect. They don't understand. Normally the confusion is between the simple present and the simple past, but it's just incorrect. When you use the auxiliary, you indicate the tense. You tell your listener, this is the tense. In continuous tenses, we use auxiliaries in affirmative. So far, you should know the present continuous, and depending on the program, it is possible that you know the past continuous. As you can see, if I don't use am or was, the sentence is I cooking pasta. I cooking pasta is not clear. Yeah, sure, it's cooking. It says cooking. But what tense is it? Is it present continuous? Is it past continuous? I need to use the auxiliary correctly to indicate the tense. I am cooking pasta. That's present. I was cooking pasta. That's past. In the negative, we get the same situation, but because in continuous tenses, we are used to using auxiliary verbs, then it doesn't make much of a difference, right? We only put the auxiliary in its negative form. Yes, in continuous tenses, we always use auxiliaries in affirmative. So we have this habit of using auxiliaries in these tenses. And the change is not that big or relevant. And I was telling you that this applies to everything in English. Well, negative and affirmative are not so complicated for beginners. They're not so complicated. The problem comes with questions. In Spanish, when you ask a question, you just change the intonation. I cook pasta. I cook pasta? That's all you do in Spanish. you change an intonation. The order of the sentence stays the same. In English, if you think about it, the order stays the same in the sense that subject, verb, object does not move. Here it is, subject, verb, object, subject, verb, object. That does not change in simple tenses. In continuous tenses, we always use auxiliaries. The position of the auxiliary does change in the question. It's not that it changes in the question for the continuous tenses and it doesn't change in the questions for simple tenses. It always changes. The auxiliary always goes before the subject in a question. Always. 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 And that is a very basic structural mistake. Rafael, but the other day I was watching a TV series or I talked to a native and they said, "You cooked pasta?" Yes, because native speakers sometimes do not respect these rules. That does not mean that you should do the same. You should, in theory, respect the rules. You are talking to a native and the native talks like that and you want to talk like that, go ahead, it's real life. When you are studying, it's important. It's very important to respect the structures, to learn them. Later in life, you can omit the structures. Do you cook pasta? Did you cook pasta? Are you cooking pasta? And where are you cooking pasta? As you can see, even though the tenses change, the structure is the same. And if we use can, it's the same. If we use should, it's the same. I can cook pasta, I can't cook pasta, can you cook pasta? It's the same. I am not going to add them all here to make it shorter. In the resource material that I give you with this video, you will see the all the possible combinations with A2 level tenses. Now, WH word, well, let's use one. When do you cook pasta? So as you can see, it's the same question. Do you cook pasta? When do you cook pasta? Right? It's not so complicated. I know that it's not so complicated, but hey, people, native Spanish speakers, Latin Americans, but this also happens with, native Spanish speakers from other parts of the world. They graduate courses, although I never taught native Spanish speakers from other parts of the world, but I suspect it's the same in their home countries. Native Spanish speakers graduate courses and they make mistakes with this. Some of them make less mistakes, some of them make more mistakes, but they make they make mistakes with this tongue twisting time. They make mistakes with this, and it's incredible. You should not graduate if you make a mistake with this. But hey, you graduate thanks to a points system. Sometimes you have enough points to graduate, not enough, practice. If I could, I would make an intensive course for the people who graduate with, structural mistakes and tell them, hey, do you want your certificate? Go take 2 months of this structural improvement or structural polishing course. Why? Because we cannot let you have a certificate if you say when you cooked pasta. When you cooked pasta. No. Why do she cook pasta? No, no, you do not touch that certificate. Get your hands off that certificate, right? That's what I would do if I could. Did you understand that question? What I, or not question. Did you understand that sentence? That is what I would do if I could. Did you understand that in your A2 level? If you did, that's great. If you didn't, that's understandable. When was you? No, you see, this is what I mean. I mean, I was distracted here and I wrote, when was you? But that's not valid in English. It's valid in African American vernacular language and other African American, not African American, in other African kinds of uses of English. Why do I say African kinds? British people also have their African vernacular version of the language. I don't know the name, but it's not a phenomenon that is exclusive to American. Again, there are more structures. Yes, there are more, not more structures. There are more examples with can, with should, with will, with have, right? In the present perfect, in the past perfect. But this is enough for today. This should give you an idea of how structures work. Yes? And when you are doing your grammar practices, be it conversationally, be it that you are writing sentences down, or you are writing a paragraph or a dialogue to practice your English, you need to pay attention to these structures. But well, there are many activities that we can do to improve this. Ideally, you do them in a class. If you don't take classes, then you can do them on your own. But you should pay attention to this. I don't have anything else to say, so thank you very much. Hey, let's take a look at the simple structures thing. Thank you very much for coming to, I was going to say for coming to this class, but you didn't come to class. It's just a video that you're watching. So thank you very much for watching this video. Have a great rest of your day or your night. Yes, whenever it is, wherever you are watching this from. Take care and see you next time. Bye.